everyone, in today's video we're doing a quick little tutorial. These are going to go in my craft fair this year. I have a booth inside for one of the craft fairs I'm doing, and so chocolates and that kind of thing will survive in the indoors. So we're going to do a quick little thing today. We're going to actually make this. This houses a little fun-sized Hershey bar. You could do the little Oreo ones if you wanted to. But this is what I found at the store when I was looking, so this is what we're going to go with. So it takes a fun-size Hershey bar and then just this little bit of paper. So the first things first, this is going to be the base of our little box, our little treat box. And this measures 3 5/8 by 3 1/8. And we are going to do on the long side some scoring. So at 1 1/4, 1 5/8, which is one little tick mark past the 1 1/2. We're going to do one at 2 7/8. That's the tick mark before 3, and at 3 1/4. That's on the long side. So the paper measures 3 5/8 by 3 1/8. On the long side, we score at 1 1/4, 1 5/8, 2 7/8, and 3 1/4. Turn it to the short side, which is the 3 1/8 side, and we're going to score that at 3 8. So that is just one tick mark past the 1/4 inch mark. That is all the scoring. We're going to get this out of the way as I pretty much throw it. And then we're going to do some folding and burnishing. So all I'm going to do is fold and burnish all of these score marks, making sure that I'm trying to keep things somewhat even. I know that I've made like chocolate containers, like sweets containers in the past, and they didn't really sell very well. And I know I've watched other people and they have said their little sweet containers sold really well. Mine never have, so I'm going to try it one more time just to see how it goes. So this little flap right here is going to be our glue flap. So I'm going to take just a little bit off that. I'm going to notch into here, and then you have these little tiny squares right here. We're going to notch into those. But when we notch into this far one on this outer edge, we're actually going to remove that one. And then I'm going to cut straight up these rectangles, and again, just a little tiny sliver of a wedge into those squares right here. Trying to keep things straight on that rectangle, but wedge into those little squares just a teeny tiny bit, just so that it helps this box fold together just a little bit nicer. So that's all the cutting. So that's what this looks like when it's all done. It's pretty simple so far. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue down the designer series paper or your pattern paper. This is actual like copyweight paper. I think that works just fine, and that's a good use of that paper in my opinion. And these each measure 1 1/8 by 2 5/8. And I chose to mat the front and the back. You don't have to do that. I just thought it looked nicer. I'm just taking some dry tape runner and I'm going to mat the front and the back very quickly. Okay. I made a larger version of these for Halloween for my kids' teachers and their my daughter's classmates. My son's in high school, so they don't really have like Halloween parties anymore. So like I said, this is the glue flap. So I'm going to apply some, this is 1/8 inch score tape. I don't use the 1/8 inch very much, and I have a few rolls of it, so this is a 1/4 inch, so you could absolutely use your 1/4 inch one, your 1/4 inch tape. You could even use this, but I'm trying to kind of work through that 1/8 inch stuff that I don't really have a need for. This is a circle punch. I think this is, I don't think it's EK Success. It may be like a Martha Stewart or a Paper Studio, but I think, oops, sorry, it's a 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to take it and push it all the way in and try to center it on these two flaps where you have the designer series paper. You want to make sure that you mat these first, otherwise you're just going to have to punch things twice. So to save yourself some time, go ahead and punch them after you have matted them with your pattern paper. So I think these are about 1/4 inch holes. Yeah. So now you can remove the release paper on your little glue flap here. And I'm going to fold on the second score line from the left, 1, 2, and the first score line on the right. And I'm just going to try to make sure that I get these lined up so that these score marks and the top of the box are flush. You really want to, if this doesn't look like this is going to be flush, don't necessarily worry about that, but try to make sure that the top of your box is flush. So now we're going to put this box together. I'm going to fold in the 2 sides, and this is the back of the box because there's the seam there. So I'm going to fold in the 2 sides and the back, and then I'm going to take just a little bit of liquid glue. Again, you could use your dry adhesive if you wanted to, but this gives me a little bit of wiggle room just in case I didn't cut this very straight. It lets me just kind of adhere things better. Well, maybe I will use liquid glue. Maybe not. I know there's glue down there, I think. Oh, heavens to Betsy. All right, where's my little pin? Maybe it's dried in there or something. Yeah, I think I got some dried up glue in there. All right, now it should work. Yeah, here we go. All right. So just a little bit of glue, that gives you some wiggle room. And I just try to square up the box as best I can. So it's not like that, because that just doesn't look right. And I just apply some pressure on that just to get that to adhere. All right. And then if you've got anything hanging over, you can just snip that off. I really don't have a whole lot hanging over, but just to make that look just a little bit neater, you can snip that off. I have a piece of, I think this is 1/4 inch ribbon, and it is about 15 inches long. And all I'm going to do is feed this in to our little holes. If you have like a ribbon hole punch or a die, you could absolutely use that. But I just have this ribbon, this little hole punch. I'm going to tuck in this flap, and then all I'm going to do is push this in and kind of tuck in that top flap as well. And what that's going to do is if your ends are not even, just tug and you can get them even. And all I'm going to do is tie a knot at the bottom down here. Kind of tighten that up toward the bottom. And then I'm going to trim off my ends. So you probably don't need the 15 inches. I'm probably cutting off 1, 2, 3, 4-ish inches. So maybe about 11 inches or so. And then you are all done. And it just slides out like that. And isn't that just so cute? I think that's such a fun little treat. These would be really good for someone to give to like coworkers, or put in like a kid's lunchbox, that kind of thing. Give to your husband, just to let him know you're thinking about him. Just about anybody. I think it's just a really sweet little treat and kind of a fun little opening. So that is the project for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you next time. Bye.